$1.3 million, which is up 4% from the same month last year. Year-to-date collections for the first 7 months of the year are approximately $13.7 million, which is up 8.8% from the same period a year ago. Mr. Grimes said the collections have been up every month so far this year across all account types. And under other business, there's discussion regarding the review of credit card statements and what specifically the state auditor's office is looking for the president of council to do as part of the review. Mr. Krebs said that it was his understanding that the president of council's signature indicates that they have received copies of the statements. Ms. Cabot said that our independent auditor has indicated that they have received no guidance from the state auditor's office regarding this requirement. I said that I would contact the state auditor's office and get back some clarification. I had gotten in touch with the state auditor's office, but I had not reported back to anybody yet. Ms. Cabot notified the committee that complaints have been received from a couple of residents on Elm Street about a food truck that parks in front of the juice bar on Elm Street. They complains that the generator on the food truck is loud and bothers the residents and the process behind it is there time of day. Ms. Cabot said she will be meeting with the police chief and planning and zoning administrator to discuss our ability to monitor noise levels. There will be no further business. The meeting adjourned at 6:24 p.m. And our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 10th at 5:30 p.m. Four pieces of legislation tonight, 3 of them which are all related, and it really makes no sense to not pass them all together, so I'm going to put them together. And then our fourth one we'll put it separately. Actually, I'm going to do the first, I'm going to do the resolution. Well, I'll do this way. 2 of them are emergencies and one's not. So, I would like to introduce...
You should have 3 emergencies. 3 emergencies. The first page. Very good page.
That's the resolution. Seriously, emergency. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to introduce all 3. So I would like to introduce Resolution 52, 2019. Ordinance 32, 2019, and Ordinance 33, 2019, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for their reading by number and title only, and to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Ward.
Yes.
Mr. Chizak.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy. Yes. Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hoosen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 52, 2019, accepting the petition of 26610 Echo LLC for special assessments for various special energy improvement projects in accordance with chapter, I guess that's 1710 and 727 of the Ohio Revised Code, declaring the necessity for proceeding with the special energy improvement projects and approving the plans and specifications therefore, stating the method for making the special assessments against the benefited properties and the amount of such special assessments, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 32, 2019, determining to proceed with certain 26610 Echo LLC Energy Improvement Project by way of special assessments in accordance with Chapter 1710 and 727 of the Ohio Revised Code, and declaring an emergency. And ordinance number 33, 2019, levying special assessments for the 26610 Echo LLC Energy Improvement Project and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Thank you. I move that resolution 52, 2019, and ordinances 32 and 33, 2019, all be passed as emergency measures.
Second.
Discussion.
I have 3 of them are all the same. From this out there. I just want to make sure I understand what it says in the language of all these documents. All 3 of them.
Okay.
They all have language in them. If you look at the petition on page 1 at the bottom paragraph of page 1, they all have that same language in it. I'm just curious if I'm Mr. Triple.
The paragraph that begins with the board of directors at the end.
Yes, you start halfway across the third line from the bottom. It says, subject to an approval by the city council of an expansion of the district to include the property. Because one of the things that the petition asks for two things, and that's one of them. Isn't that something that's already been done?
We have expanded the district to include all properties within the city.
Right.
I will say the petition was originally envisioned earlier in January prior to joining the district. So that would probably be why that language is in there.
So it's executed in June.
Mm-hmm. But when it was
the language in there?
correct.
Okay. Okay, that covers 3 of my 4 questions. Just a comment on it, none of the documents that we received actually indicates what the interest rate was. So I backed into it. If anyone's interested in knowing, it's 7.871% is the nominal rate. That's what the funds are being borrowed at. And then lastly, this is page 2 of ordinance 33, 2019. 2 main paragraphs have blanks in them.
I'm sorry, I apologize, did you say 32 or 33?
33. And I believe those blanks are just the resolution of the ordinance numbers of 52, 2019, 32, 2019.
Yeah. That is correct, those will be filled in then.
Okay, so
Yes.
just that's understood, okay. That's all I have as far as discussion.
Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Warren,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes. Thank you. And lastly, I would like to introduce ordinance 34, 2019, and move that the rules be suspended to allow first reading by number, title only, and to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Warren,
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Ordinance number 34, 2019, authorizing all actions necessary to establish a special grant fund for city departments.
Thank you. I move that ordinance 34, 2019 be passed.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen,
Yes.
Ms. Warren,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it for, Ms. Williams.
Yes, I just had a quick question regarding the DORA. I know that we are scheduling a public hearing correct on September 3rd. A number of questions came out regarding the DORA, and one of the questions was, do we, as a council, are going to see the need to refer this to any of our committees? And I guess I just want to throw this out there to see where everyone's, I guess, opinion was, or just to look ahead if that's something that we're looking at doing. If it's finance, if it's,
Well, I think we're gonna do that. We want to send it to the committee before it goes to council.
well, I'm just throwing it out there. 'cause
Yeah,
nothing's been
suggestion
mentioned.
which committee you think might be most appropriate for that? We don't have a.
Well, I don't know, I mean, I guess it's gonna depend.
Would,
I mean, if you're looking at it as an economic development tool, if it's a financial,
I think
is
that's
it
the way,
planning,
I think they're
zoning?
proposing it as an economic
Safety.
development tool, yeah.
I mean, it can hit a number of
Yeah.
committees, and
So
do we
the-
wanna send it to each individual committee, do we want the committee whole? Because it could hit, up to 3 committees. If you're looking at safety, if you're looking at finance, if you're looking at,
Actually, I think it was my understanding that we were gonna have a committee meeting regarding that.
it's a suggestion, I don't know what it is.
But we're trying to schedule one with cities later regarding water agreements.
So what was the timetable for this again?
We're going to have a public hearing on September 3rd. And I'll pull up the dates. I had sent out.
And the kids say at that September 3rd meeting that the applicant will be on site and is asked to do a presentation. So that could answer many of your questions.
Sure.
And they will be here available to answer anything else.
So, it being a public hearing, that doesn't limit our participation
Correct.
from anything other than a committee meeting, so we just can't pick all of this. Correct?
Correct. You can certainly post questions.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we go through that first?
I was just throwing that out
If we have
there.
things that we want to, let's do that in
Thank you.
Thank you.
Service committee?
Thank you, Your Honor. I do not have a report. Our next meeting is scheduled August 28th at 5 p.m.
Thank you.
Safety. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no safety committee report this evening. However, I would like to say thank you to the Perrysburg Police Division and Fire Divisions and State Rep Dunbar and you, Mr. Mayor, for participating in our Perrysburg Slow Rollers bicycle ride we had on August 12th. We had over 90 citizens on bicycles, and it was a great way for all of us kids of all ages to interact with our first responders and community leaders. So it's events like these that I think are helping bring awareness to everyone that we can have a safe community and a bicycle friendly community. So our next safety committee meeting is Tuesday, August 27th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. It was very fun. Recreation committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Read my report. Report on Recreation Committee report on regular meeting of August 13th, 2019. Present were Deborah Bourne, Chair, Councilman Jim Matuzak, and Jonathan Smith. Chairwoman Bourne called the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. in council chambers. After the Pledge of Allegiance, citizen concerns were requested. Paul Smithers of 1055 Locust Street and several other members of the Perrysburg Pickleball were present to discuss the status of their organization. Mr. Smithers reported that the group had followed the Recreation Committee's earlier suggestion and founded a club, although complete organization was still a work in progress. The group has a Facebook page called Perrysburg Pickleball Club. Mr. Smithers asked if there could be a link to the City of Perrysburg's website and if the City Administration could help collect the club dues and hold the funds until any unused portion would be returned to the club to host a social event at the end of the season. Chairwoman Warren stated that she was glad that the Perrysburg Club is doing well. Mr. Smithers then introduced Betsy Kinniston, 5958 Settlers Ridge Circle, Sylvania, who is a United States pickleball ambassador and trained in organizing inter-club activities. Ms. Kinniston said that her area of responsibility is Northwest Ohio. She's a member of the Toledo and Holland pickleball clubs and is a founder of Sylvania Club. She commented that Perrysburg is unique because it has courts in place because before there was a club. She emphasized that it is important that the city and the club work together, and she asked if the city could be the point person of contact for the club. Chairman Bourne asked how long the Sylvania Club existed. Ms. Kinston responded that it was in 2015. Mr. Matuzak stated that he is not a believer in growing government and wanted to know why the city should be involved in the finances of a private club. He mentioned that he is involved with some other clubs, soccer and baseball, in Perrysburg, which do not do this. Ms. Kinniston responded that some of the clubs think that there will be greater security if the city holds the money, but the procedure is not universal. She also stated that the Holland Club manages its own money, and Sylvania does this with all the private clubs it works with. If the infrastructure for this does not exist in Perrysburg, then it does not have to happen. Mr. Matuzak responded that he would like for the pickleball club to take ownership of that function themselves. Mr. Matuzak then asked if the Sylvania Pickleball Club has a written agreement with the city. Ms. Kinston responded that the club activities are posted on the city website. She then listed the situation with other area clubs whose relationship with their respective political jurisdictions vary. Chairwoman Bourne asked Mr. Smith for his thoughts. He responded that he agreed with Mr. Matuzak that the city should not be responsible for the club's financial operations. He also recommended that the club ask Bridget Cabot or John Eckel to serve as a contact. Mr. Matuzak asked that the club sign for its own protection, some kind of written agreement with the city, after which they can come back to the committee. Mr. Matuzak also asked if the club provided equipment for new players. Judy Hagan of the Department of Public Service responded that the Way Library and Summer Recreation Program has equipment which can be checked out free of charge. She thought that it would be kept for a week, but was not sure. Mr. Smithers thanked the committee and the city for all they have done for the growth of pickleball. Chairwoman Warren stated that she loved the enthusiasm and the inclusiveness which brings all ages together. Under old business, I have here, Ms. Cabot has not provided information or location of the water line to process splash pad. However, I have an update on that. And so this should be inserted into the recreation committee minutes. After this report was written, Ms. Cabot informed me that there is a water line to Rotary Park which can be used to service a splash pad. No action was taken on the Riverside Park Canyon stands. No one was present to discuss the inclusive playground. Chairwoman Warren presented a revision to the draft ordinance which had been presented at last month's committee meeting. The second version addresses the concerns the law director had expressed about the first draft. Ms. Warren stated that she would like the committee to make a recommendation to the full council to adopt this ordinance. Mr. Matuzak asked if the law director had been given the draft. Ms. Warren responded that she had sent a copy to the law director, but she had not heard back from her. Mr. Matuzak asked how Ms. Warren had chosen the figure of $25,000. Ms. Warren responded that she had attended a council meeting before she took office where it was mentioned that any expenditure by the city administration of more than $25,000 must be approved by council. Mr. Matuzak then stated that he questioned the necessity of having language in the proposed ordinance requiring that the committee make a recommendation before an issue is returned to council, because council already has the power to remove any motion, any power to remove by motion any issue from any committee and bring it back to the full council if it wishes to do so. Ms. Warren responded that she was interested in clarifying the committee's responsibility and making them more specific. Mr. Matuzak stated that he had been on committees where occasionally issues were sent back to council with no recommendation. He mentioned that it is possible that council might change the $25,000 threshold, so it would be better for us not to list a figure in the ordinance, but instead to peg it to whatever number is listed in the part of the code which deals with the overall power of council. Other than these two issues, he has no problem with moving forward. Mr. Smith said he agreed with Mr. Matuzak on both issues. Mr. Matuzak proposed the language be changed to delete the phrase and make a recommendation to council on all three clauses. He then asked the revised draft be sent to the law director who can review it and return her views to Chairwoman Warren before the next Recreation Committee. When Ms. Warren receives them, she can email them to the other committee members. John Orser, 125 West Front Street, congratulated the committee on amicably resolving the issue. He commended that the three, rather than two of the seven council committees, have designated responsibilities and hope that today's action will be an incentive for the other four chairs to take similar action. Under new business, J. Hagan, Office of Litter Prevention, requested that the committee recommend approval of applications for 3 grants from the Wood County Parks District Grant Program. These are storage racks for Orleans Park, $11,547. Bleachers for pickleball courts at District Park, $9,096.25. And concrete trash Garbage cans for Rotary Park, $9,948.17. The application deadline is August 30th. Mr. Smith asked if the Rotary Park garbage cans could have the Rotary Club logo on them. Ms. Hagan responded that the city uses the city logo. There is not room for more than one logo on a can, and since the cans are perfectly moved from place to place, it would be inappropriate to have the Rotary Club logo on cans in other areas of the city. And Ms. Hagan stated that the law director should have sent a copy of the resolution to the committee. The committee members responded that none had been received. Ms. Warren asked when it would be known the city had received the grants. Ms. Hagan responded that there is no deadline, but it could be October 1. The committee voted 3-0 to recommend council that a resolution permitting application for grants be passed. Chairwoman Warren next reported on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting. She is council's non-voting representative for CRAC, and she made 3 points. And the second one, the first one is the committee is working on its bylaws. Number 2, CRAC does not have a procedure for making its recommendations known to either city administration or council. She recommended that they adopt a policy for making passing a motion to the committee, which would be sent to either the city administration or council for their first reading. And I'd like to add to this as well. As I stated at last week's recreation committee meeting, the proper procedure for CRAC to make use of conditions known to either administration or the city council is as follows. If any individual member of CRAC has an issue for the council or the administration to review, they should first present it to the other members of CRAC. If a majority are in agreement, then the motion may be passed requesting the relevant body to review the proposal. Issues involving legislation or an expenditure of more than $45,000 for the recreation may be council. Anything else will be going to the mayor's office. One committee member from CRAC expressed a concern that the majority of parks are in the old part of town. The reality is that there are 12 parks, of which 3, Orland, Riverside, and Hood, are located in the historic district near municipal, in the original mile of which the historic district is part, and the other 8 are in the newer areas. Here followed a lengthy discussion on parks in general. Mr. Smith reiterated his position that an additional park should be built in the report. He asked about what procedures CRAC should take to make its wishes known to council, although Chairwoman Warren already outlined an viable procedure 10 minutes earlier. Jim Hagan, 10741 Avenue Road, asked for what purpose is the money used and what is collected for residential developers who choose not to incorporate pocket parks in their developments. He stated this money is supposed to be used to acquire land for additional parks, which he feels should be located on the far west side. The meeting adjourned at 7:45 p.m. The next meeting is September 10th at 6:30 p.m. And with that, I have some legislation. I would like to introduce Resolution 53-2019 and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only and dispense with the second and third readings.
Second. Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Warren.
Yes.
Mr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Dusen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
And Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Resolution number 53, 2019, authorizing the city administration to pursue grants through the Wood County Park District in the amount of $30,571.44, and, if awarded, authorizes the acceptance of grant proceeds and declaring an emergency.
Message.
Okay, I move that. I I move that Resolution 53, 2019 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion?
Would this be an example of when we would use that special fund that we just passed?
Yes, that's certainly.
Roll call?
Okay, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Van Dusen,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Matusek,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Planning and zoning?
Thank you, Your Honor. We met, we have 2 meetings to report on, so I'm going to try and capsulize my reports. We met on July 30 to consider the special approval use for the Rotary Park Master Plan. Basically, it involves the addition of a pavilion and some updating of the master plan to reflect what really has happened there. The original master plan, I believe, called for 3 tennis courts, and there are 5. There were baseball fields in the plan that have been removed. I guess this really did ask if restrooms would be part of the second phase, and Jeff Norman, who was present that night and is present again tonight, said he thought that the restrooms would be done with the pavilion. The committee agreed 2-0 to recommend approval of the special approval use, so Mr. Smith has to abstain, and that will come to you later. It's ordinance 35, 2019. Our regular meeting that was held on August 14. I didn't know who was present, but it was pretty much the same group of times, myself, Jonathan Smith, and Becky Williams. And our regular meeting, we were joined by Richard Campbell, City Administrator, Director of Law, and Marquise Lee from the Planning and Zoning. I'm sorry, Rudy Walters attended the August 14th meetings. First item that night was the citizens concerned Corey LaRoe, who lives next door to the retail strip on West Boundary Street that contains Twisty Tree, Bodega, Salon, and Coral Reef. The issues he has with this neighbor is that they have bright lights, and they are bright lights when you drive by there, which are pointed at his house. The dumpster is literally going with garbage related to his yard, and the fence has nails protruding from it onto his side of the fence. He spoke to the owner of the property with little success. They did put the lights on a timer, but they don't go off until midnight. He was just at the committee for any advice and direction. Brody Walters, to his credit, was very familiar with the issue. He's visited the property, he's verified that the concerns are legitimate. The fence was constructed with an air nailer, so the nails do protrude, but the fence is straight and constructed well, so there's nothing planning and zoning can do with respect to the fence. On the dumpster issue, the property was annexed from the township. It has made no changes. The property hasn't made any changes since then. It will trigger a review in which event the city could require dumpster enclosure. Mr. Walters had suggested to the landlord that he move the dumpster, but he's not open to that suggestion. He said that the property owner has concerns about the safety of the parking lot at the ice cream store, which is why he installed the lights. As a first step, what they're going to do, and I guess Brody's physically going to assist in this project, is to bag the light closest to Mr. LaRoe's house, in effect to kind of bag it, cover it up, and see how that helps with the issue, and then tilt the other light down to see if it contains the light spillage. The lights are one area that his office can enforce, and he's told the property owner that it has to be brought into compliance. The second item that night was a special approval use for First United Methodist Church at 200 West 2nd Street. This was the subject of a public hearing at our last meeting. I asked if the site plan had been approved by the Historic Landmarks Commission, and it has been approved. There was a brief discussion regarding the cafe lights that will be added. The committee voted 3-0 to recommend approval of the special approval use to you. In the area of other business, Ms. Williams asked Mr. Walters how the implementation of recommendations raised through the Kaizen process are working out. And Brody told us that the biggest change has been to the plan review process, and this is kind of the internal administration process. They've eliminated the travel time of the plans and now have a centralized review location at the engineering office. And they've also implemented a 2-week deadline for the divisions to review the plans. Mr. Smith stated that at a recent Recreation Committee meeting, the committee discussed the rezoning of a city-owned parcel near Cole Court that is zoned R3 and is adjacent to a city-owned parcel that is zoned seating and open space. Mr. Smith suggested that the parcel that's currently zoned R3 be changed to park or seating. Ms. Williams asked about the fact that the parcel is currently being farmed and could it continue to be farmed if it was rezoned. And Brody Walter said that you have to check to see if farming is permitted under seating and open space zoning. The farming could be considered a legal non-conforming use. Brody said that he would recommend that the parcel be rezoned to park because if there is any thought or intention of developing the parcels as a park, it would indicate to homeowners purchasing property in that area that there could be a park there in the future. If the decision is later made to use the property more scenic and open space, the zoning could be so amended. Finally, Mr. Walters commented that it's always easier to go from a more intensive to a less intensive use. The committee agreed 3-0 to refer the matter to the Planning Commission for its recommendation. And we adjourned, and before I introduce my ordinances, actually Becky Pointer raised the question of, Lord, do we need to do anything with that HLC appeal, or are you going to kind of be the quarterback on that and getting it scheduled? Or?
Yes, I will. I actually reached out to the attorney who filed it because of the manner in which it was filed and the HLC's consideration of it at their August meeting and actually issuing the time. I reached out to the attorney and asked if there was any supplemental information they'd like to provide as part of the appeal, but did notify them that it's been sent to City Council. We have spoken internally, and I'm not aware of what council's practice has been in the past. I know sometimes it's been referred possibly to planning and zoning committee to discuss it, or we can discuss it at a city council meeting. That's the way it was explained to me. So I'm hopeful that there may be some more information coming to you on it. I wanted to give the applicant that opportunity.
Okay, well then I guess we can decide the procedure later. I'm having trouble remembering. We've done some of these as committee as a whole.
Okay. And council may hold a public hearing if they want to. You're not required to, but you may. You may take additional information from the applicant, and then of course review what had occurred down at the HLC level.
Okay. I can't recall, and you may not know off the top of your head, does this procedure involve sworn witnesses? I mean, we have those.
It can, yes.
Okay.
Yes, you have the opportunity to take that testimony.
Okay.
Happily in the past, sometimes kind of set planning zoning as kind of a mediation phase.
That sounds familiar.
And then if that was unsuccessful, then a formal hearing was held. That's my reflection. I don't remember.
Well, that's fine. We can put it
And
down.
whatever council wants to do, if we have no administration has no preference, but.
Okay. Well, I guess you'll be at the next planning and zoning meeting.
Yes.
If someone could pass word along to Brody that we need that on the agenda, and then we'll at least keep it on the radar screen so that we know how we're going to proceed on this.
That's fine.
With that having been said, I would like to introduce ordinance 35, 2019, move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and to dispense with the second and third readings.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Warren,
Yes.
Mr. Matusek,
Yes.
Mr. McCurdy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Is that abstaining from this at this point?
Yes, if you are a member of Rotary.
I'll just abstain in generality, just be consistent.
Okay, Mr. Van Huzen.
Abstain.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance number 35, 2019, granting special approval use to PRC Park LLC and the city of Perrysburg for the construction of an outdoor pavilion at Rotary Community Park and declaring an emergency.
I would then move that ordinance 35-2019 be passed as an emergency measure.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Van Huzen.
Abstain.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Abstain.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
And Mr. Matusek.
Yes.
All right, I would then like to introduce ordinance 36, 2019, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only, and dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Ordinance number 36, 2019, granting special approval use to First United Methodist Church for the construction of a patio addition at 200 West 2nd Street, Wood County.
I would then move that ordinance 36, 2019 be passed.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Matusek.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Ms. Bourne.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
That's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. Personnel.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no report. Our next scheduled meeting will be Monday, August 26th at 5 p.m., which is a change from the usual day.
Thank you. Tricky Public Utilities.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no actual report from my meeting, but I'm happy to hear that things are still progressing along with this water conversation. It sounds to me that there is a consensus on the Toledo agreement. I am still on the recommendation we do a committee of the whole meeting once Toledo votes on that, which I believe is September 3rd. How's the timeline working on that?
That's correct, yes. City
Okay.
Council plans on having it on the agenda for a public hearing, I believe August 26th, and then September 3rd for consideration of passage.
Okay. And I recall there may be a time frame that they're looking to have that passed by the other municipalities.
That is correct. The city of Toledo does desire to pass their water rate ordinances for 2020 and beyond before the end of the year. And in an effort to allow for up to 3 readings on those water rate ordinances, working their way backwards from the end of the year, they need to know what community is going to be signing on to the unified uniform agreement. And so in that sense, they're asking for all contracting communities to make their determination up to, and I think the time frame is yet to be established, but they're looking at maybe 60 days from September 3rd. The technical committee that you're familiar with of all contracting communities, I believe we're going to be discussing what that time frame would be, if it was 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. We've yet to hear what that final time frame will be. But I would guess that it would be not to exceed 60, just so that they can accommodate their water rate ordinance timeline.
In the materials you provided, note that the exhibits calculate the rates with everybody agreed to. So that's kind of why they need to know, because they actually have to change those at the time to run that process.
So what do you suppose would be the consequences if we can't fully grasp that agreement in 60 days?
We would go forward, and we would, we have a contract through 2027. We would be, in my opinion, subject to the city of Toledo imposing additional rates on that, our water to us, unilaterally without our control. And that would not be something I would prefer to see happen.
You would have to impose those rates on us if we agree to stick with that or current contract, right?
No, under the current contract.
Under the current contract, they could increase our rates.
Yes, under our current agreement, there's no cap on the rate increase the city of Toledo can tack on to our.
Right, and we would anticipate that although it was promised that there were not two certain things, it would be reasonable to expect that if everybody else agrees and they redo the math for those other contracts, that some of the costs that we're trying to avoid in this contract regarding rates, payment for city services for Toledo only, like for lead and other things, would be passed on to us out of our control. So that would be something to consider.
How long have we been under this current contract?
20 some years.
Would it
The new one's 40 years. I guess this one's 38, so maybe this will work. Can do my math there.
So we passed the contract 20 years ago that allowed them to do this to us. Does this contract that we're looking at now allow them to continue to do things like this to us?
Not under the new contract.
And under the new one? Thank you.
That's one of the reasons all the contracting communities felt that it was important to. We could have waited till the contract expired, but we did not feel that was appropriate. And also, I think we all felt that the unilateral nature of the existing contracts, even though we did have a good rate, could create a potential problem for the city if we were to not negotiate. And I would also say that I would commend our administrative teams, particularly Alice, Laura, and Bridget, for spending the technical committees spent a lot of time getting accurate numbers and negotiating specific terms of contract, and they were instrumental in the contracting sides negotiations. And our people were leading those efforts. So.
And one final follow-up question is, I know this Bowling Green breaks, are those still potentially coming this week, or what's the status of those final figures?
Ms. Godsey met with the Northwest Water and Sewer District today, and they are getting some final feedback back to the consultants so that they can put together that final draft of their report. So it looks like it's very close.
We want you to have that.
As I said, I would prefer to have that well before the 3rd, so we can make an appropriate decision.
That is our goal.
All right, thank you. And our next scheduled meeting is going to be August 28th at 6 p.m. I do have just an ordinance here for its second reading, so with that, I would like to introduce ordinance 31, 2019, and move that the rules be suspended to allow for its reading by number and title only.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call. Ms. Gordon.
Yes.
Mr. Matuzak.
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Van Huzen.
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Ordinance number 31, 2019. An ordinance amending ordinance number 5, 2019, adopted on January 8th, 2019, and increasing the contract amount with JDI Group for an additional $22,700 for architectural design services for building renovations of the Department of Public Utilities and declaring emergency.
All right, thank you. And that is all for the public utilities.
Thank you very much. Any other business for council?
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.